Hi, my name is Keith Budden, and I'm the main trainer here for GDPR. And I'd like to introduce you to our training course, GDPR Made Simple, and also our GDPR services. But first of all, just a little bit of background about myself. I've worked in data security and document management now since 1997, so 20 years. And about 4 years ago, unfortunately, I had a brain tumour, which put me into hospital totally unexpectedly, took me totally by surprise. And as a result of that and subsequent brain damage, meant that physically I couldn't do anything. But fortunately, the intelligence part of my brain was still working fine. The memory part was working pretty well. And so I was still able to function mentally. Physically was more of a challenge. And indeed, for a few weeks, I was just stuck in bed, couldn't do anything at all. And I still remember a consultant coming sitting on the end of the bed and telling me that I'm sorry, Mr. Budden, but this is as good as it gets. And well, my reaction to that was like hell it is. And whether she knew it or not, that consultant actually acted as my biggest motivation for getting better and recovering and getting out of hospital. And so many weeks later, I did succeed in getting out of hospital, and I obviously had some time at home, and I felt that I wanted to give something back to society. And so I stood for election to our local district council, and I'm pleased to say I was duly elected, and I still am a councillor, and I really enjoy representing the people of my ward to the best of my ability. So why am I telling you all this? Well, really just to give you a bit of background into myself, about my knowledge, my mindset, and also that with GDPR, I see an opportunity to give something back to the business community too, and that's the whole point of this training. Because I'm not here to give you scare stories about GDPR like some trainers do. I'm not going to say you'll be fined 20 million euros if you don't comply on the 25th of May, because that's simply not true. Yes, it is true, the maximum fine is 20 million euros, but only big corporations are ever going to pay anything like that amount, and certainly no one is going to pay that within the first month or two at least, and more likely the first year or two after GDPR comes into being. So one of the things that I say to people about GDPR, though, there is, having said the financial penalties are often overblown and exaggerated, what isn't exaggerated is the potential to do very real damage to your business reputation, because what the Information and Commissioner's Office, the ICO, have said is that if they find you're not compliant with GDPR, they will seek to firstly educate, but also to name and shame. And so whilst you might escape a financial penalty in the form of a fine imposed by a court, you could have a very big financial penalty in terms of customers or clients or members of your organisation deserting you. And if you want an example of that, just look at the recent example with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, and look at what's happened to the value of Facebook's share price in the days following that. Now, okay, that's Facebook, they're big, everyone knows Facebook. But imagine that you're a well-known local company and suddenly you're front page news on your local newspaper or on your local community website because you've been named and shamed by the Information Commissioner's Office for having data breaches, for letting people's data out into the public domain. What do you really think that's going to do to your company's reputation? And so the mantra through the training is that reputation is everything. Because if you lose your reputation, you lose your clients. If you lose your clients, you lose your business. If you lose your business, then times are really bad. And I don't want that to happen to anyone. And so I've put together this online course, which is really simple to follow, takes you step by step through what you need to do, gives you all the paperwork and all the procedures and all the policies that you need to be compliant with GDPR. It hopefully provides you with the education that GDPR is a mindset and not a rule set. Because GDPR is not about the 25th of May 2018. Yes, sure, that's the day it comes into being. But it's from then onwards. It's every day from then onwards. It's how your organisation is structured. It's how your organisation responds. It's making sure that every single person in your organisation has at least a basic awareness of what GDPR is and what it means. What it means to you, what it means to them, what it means to your customers, what it means to your suppliers, what it means to your volunteers. Because it means different things to each of those, but it's important that people understand it. It's important that your staff understand when someone has made a data request, because they don't have to make it on the form. They could just make it in a telephone call. They could just make it bumping into you in the office, or in your shop, or in your showroom. So I really would encourage you to do the next step. And the next step is to click on the button below this video. It will take you to a very simple form to complete. Once we get that form, we will send you a 12-point checklist of actions that you can start taking today to get your company GDPR compliant. It's never too late to start. And they really are straightforward actions that you can put into place right now, which will help get you on the way to being GDPR compliant. Once you've completed those actions, I would of course encourage you to take our online course, and there are instructions on the next page and indeed on the checklist on how to register for that. It's only £97. For that, you really do get hundreds of pounds worth of value, but we've deliberately priced it at £97 so that it's affordable by any SME, any person working on their own, any small charity or organisation. And finally, the last thing I'm going to say is that if you prefer classroom training or in-person training, then look further down the webpage and you'll see details about how to get in touch with us about that, and indeed details of events that we're holding, a training event pretty well every week between now and May the 25th at our purpose-built training facility in Ocean Village in Southampton. So please have a browse around the site. Please do click on the button below and make sure you get your checklist. And if you have any questions at all, please do get in touch with us and we will do our best to help you. Thank you for listening.